iScrappers, Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, July 18th, 2018. We hope that everyone is doing well out here on the East Coast. We had a big-ass rainstorm yesterday, which broke some of the humidity we had. So we're out there scrapping in beautiful weather today. Nice sunny skies, 87 degrees. We hope that the weather by you is equally as nice, if not nicer, maybe less humidity than we still have. And we hope that there's lots of scrap in the pile or scrap that you're finding out there on the roads. We continue to read cool stories and see tips and tricks inside of our Facebook groups and emails that we get in and people that private message us. So let us know little tips and tricks that you do during the summer for your scrapping. Believe it or not, I've been in this business for 27 years and the coolest thing is I'm always learning. And I watch so many people inside of the Facebook groups that have shown me tips on taking things apart that I had never seen before. And I think it's really, really interesting to see how people do things and tips and tricks that they learn and showing and sharing information. I saw someone yesterday talking about a winch, and instead of pulling something, wrapping a chain around and then pulling it onto the truck. This way you don't put as much tension on the chain. Just little tricks and tips like that you can only learn by doing or having someone else show you if you've never done it before. Super cool to watch and see. But don't forget, every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern, we do our live updates, so feel free to ask any questions while we're live. If you are not able to watch us while we're doing our live stream, please feel free to ask questions and we'll make sure to get to them after hours. We'll link to posts, we'll link to different articles that will be able to help you, and most importantly, hopefully, we'll see you learning more about scrap and continuing to help us learn more too. So, a couple of things. Bear Brent in the last week, we've seen the prices go down on average about 4 cents a pound, with the market in the 230 to 240 range. Number one tubing prices, all copper prices are down, so let's just throw that out there. Number one tubing prices we've seen posted anywhere from $1.87 to $2.17 a pound. Insulated copper wire market has really been slammed with a lot of the tariff information and a lot of the trade restrictions in China right now. That normal wire market is in the 38 to 53 cent per pound mode. Aluminum prices, weak, couple cents down. Steel prices down about $7 a ton on average, with light iron prices leading the way around $111 to $131 per ton. Heavy melt, $40 to $50 per ton more for unprepared. So, question already, go.
Real quick, not a question.
Sure.
We have a top fan.
Cool.
Jarrell says, hey guys, love your videos every Wednesday.
Appreciate the shout out, Jarrell. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you can learn something and tell us anything that you're looking to learn, and we'll continue to try to push that out to you. So, a couple of things that I've tried to dive into and look on a bit of a broader scope over the last few weeks and a few months. And it's not just the week to week to week. I know we give you guys prices and immediate news alerts on what's going on with the market, but I've been trying to figure out where the market could possibly be going. And I've come to a couple of different things. So one thing is that I've read is consumer spending. And that's just the average person, how much money they're spending on normal products, whether it's clothes, shoes, cars, electronics. That number has been up in 2018 and the end of 2017. Why is that important? Well, we've seen the tax cuts that came into effect a few months ago go in, putting more money into almost all Americans' pockets. So that's added to the increase in spending on goods and services. Now, the increase in spending on goods and services, we'll be able to see an increase in people throwing out old stuff. So that's where I wanted to kind of key in there. So you're going to start to see people buying more grills, more electronics, newer TVs, cars, because when people are getting more money in, unfortunately, they should kind of stay at the same level, but most people will spend that extra money, and that could be to your advantage for the extra scrap that we're going to see out there. So we've seen a bunch of people online that have commented and talked about different recycling ventures that they have, and a truck and a trailer, one man's trash is another man's treasure, that whole theme, and seeing people do a lot more things. So it's been really cool to watch. Do we have a question, V?
We do. Kind of a statement. Jason Barrett asked that he said that he read a report recently that copper may have a crazy spike soon.
That's so crazy. Thank you very much for commenting. That was going to be one of the topics that I talk about today. I read 100 to 200 articles a week, depending on how crazy my week is, about where metals prices are, where they could be, and where they're going. And that's one, so why don't we talk about it while we're on the subject. I read either the same article or a similar article, and it was talking about projections. Now, I'm going to hone in on that word projections here. I have a lot of projections too, you know. I'd like to project that I'm retired in 25 years. I'd like to project that, you know, my kids grow up to be, you know, extremely successful doctors or philanthropists or tech gurus. You know, I'd like to project a lot of things. Now, projections are just that. You know, they're things that you think you can really make an educated guess on, but you have so many different things that could tune in and change it that they are just that. But I will talk about the projections that you and I probably read, and many other people as well. The projection is saying that within the next 10 years, that's a large spectrum, that copper could climb to $4 per pound or more. There it is in a nutshell. In the next 10 years, copper could climb to trading levels of $4 per pound or more. And that's based off of a couple of different things. Inflation, demand, these tariffs and trade restrictions that are going to affect, and a squeeze on supply. People think that as more and more underdeveloped third world countries do get developed, that they're going to need to see more metals coming into the country so they're able to move more copper into their system, more electric, more power, more tape cable, more TV, more wireless, more communication, more buildings. All these things are going to require the use of metals. So they're saying that a lot of these things, paired up with the continuing advance and growth of electronics, will also lead to a spike in copper, and a demand for copper will increase, the supplies will tighten, and the price will rise. Well, that's generally what happens, but don't forget about so many different things that could happen between now and, you know, 10 years from now. You know, we could see a recession, we could see a depression, we could see more tariffs going into place, we could see other countries putting restrictions on scrap that they get in. You know, there's a lot of things that could go in, and I don't mean to be a pessimist, but I'm just showing you that we can read a lot of things. You know, I read an article the other day talking about gas prices, potentially doubling in the next 12 months. Cost of oil per gallon going from $73 to $146 per barrel, which would roughly equate to an average national price of gas between $4 and $5 per gallon. That's a projection. I sure as shit hope that doesn't come true, but I know that that is still a projection based off of multiple analysts reading the data, trying to take it, decipher it, and spit it out in a very educated way. Doesn't always mean that they're right, just means that they're trying to do something. And these are all little things that you need to be able to look at, digest, and come up with the right answer to be able to come up with the right decision for what you do with your scrap. So a lot of people are going to say, Tom, copper could go to $4. Should I save it? No, I don't think you should save it, because there's just so many different things. I always use the analogy at my scrapyard when people ask me if I'm saving my copper. And I say, well, you know, I'd love to, but I can't go to the grocery store with 100 pounds of copper and say, hey, this is worth $1 a pound, I need $100 worth of groceries. It doesn't work that way. So I'm constantly moving material. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes you break even. But knowing that winning is by selling material, moving, clearing space, and making room for other things makes it a little easier for you to be able to go out there, move your materials, get the money, reinvest in your trucks, your tools, your equipment, go on a vacation, do something fun. You know, having money sitting in barrels is not as important as having money sitting in your pocket. And I'll take an example. Talked to a scrapper recently. He said he saved copper for about a year and a half, and he had about 800 pounds of number 2 copper. And his question to me was, should I cash in or should I save? And my answer was, well, at the time, copper was, number 2 was $2.40 a pound. I said, I think that your best case scenario in the next year is that copper goes up 15 to 20 cents. So 15, let's say 20 cents on 800 pounds is a $160 gain. Worst case scenario, copper goes down 50 cents a pound. Copper goes down 50 cents a pound, $400 loss. It's a $560 swing from top to bottom, or you could cash out today, make what it is, and be on with your day. Fortunately, he did listen to me, He ended up cashing out a few weeks ago before the market started to go down. I think he got like $2.25 a pound for number 2. And, he goes, well, I wish I cashed in at that $2.40. I'm like, listen, you lost, quote unquote, $120, but who knows what's going to happen in the coming weeks. He actually came to see us the other day with compressors, and he goes, thank you for telling me to cash out now, because I would have lost another $250, $300 if I had held on to it, and it is what it is. So there's no right answer. That's the big story compressed. There are multiple right answers. There's no single right answer. Selling today, that's a right answer. Selling tomorrow and the market goes up, that's a right answer. Selling the next day and the market goes down, that's the right answer. Moving materials is the basic goal. Clear space to do it. Now, if you're a gambler and you really enjoy this, and maybe you're fortunate enough where your job doesn't, it allows you enough money coming in where you don't have to sell material, and you want to hold on to it because you really want to hit $3 a pound. We talked to a large commercial company that was waiting for $3 per pound for Bear Bright. They had a few thousand pounds, got to really, really close, $2.92. They wanted to hold off for that $3 even, and the market has dropped 55 cents since, and now they're going to be holding again. But they're in a position where they're able to absorb that blow and hold on to the material and accumulate more, where not most people are. So it is an individual case-by-case basis. So, we tell you to sell. Sell, 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 sell. Don't hold on to steel. We saw steel fall another $7 to $12 per ton the last week for all grades, with more news coming that steel's going to be falling further. We read these articles and we see these notes about copper projections, 5, 10 years out. Hell, I can't predict 5 minutes to 5 hours out, let alone 5 months, 5 years, 10 years. We constantly are moving material because that's what we know. We know that moving things makes it so we mitigate the damages that we could have for a market going down, and the people that we deal with, they're constantly getting material from us. They honor their prices even if it goes down a couple of cents, and they'll make sure that we're constantly getting paid. And that's a rapport that you should try to establish with the scrapyard once you really find and latch onto a good one. So there's my 2 cents on that. But that's it's funny that we both read that article, Jason, and you mentioned it kind of leading into what I wanted to talk about today. But I don't know, what do they say? Let's go with projections are like assumptions. They only make an ass out of you and me, so assumptions, assume, whatever. You guys get the drift here. I don't project. Don't ask me what I think the market is going to do. What I think the market is going to do is that I think it's going to be trading at the level it is today, and right now is a good time to cash in. Yes.
We have a price from Anthony up in Sudbury, Ontario. Number 1 copper is at $2.56 per pound.
$2.56. Don't forget, scrappers, that is in Canada, so those are not U.S. prices. Anthony, thank you very much for that report. Make sure you're reporting it online as well. One thing that we found from hearing other people, it's really nice being able to report those prices online and kind of go back and see your own prices that you've reported to help you out learn where the market has been over the last few weeks or few months that you've sold material different times. We found overall is that most of the scrappers that we deal with are not really hoarding material. Maybe they're hoarding one thing, but 95% of the material that they're getting in, whether it be insulated wire, light iron, or brass, they're getting it in, they're getting a bucket, and they're cashing it out. Even if they have a half a bucket, if they're making their way down, they generally seem to be cashing out as quickly as they fill that half bucket. And we think that that's a safe plan. With so much uncertainty right now overseas, it's really difficult to figure out where the markets are going to be. And with reports that the Chinese may possibly even be stopping importing scrap in the next 2 to 3 years, that makes it a little more scarier going forward, even though we've seen the curb for metal from the Chinese. The demand for metal over the last 20 years from the Chinese has generally curbed down, and we don't expect that trend to stop, especially with the news that they could possibly be stopping importing metal over the next few years. Some people asked us, and we talked about it a few weeks ago, one of the reasons that the Chinese can afford to stop importing metal, A, they've been getting so much of it, they have a lot in stock, and they've been able to really establish a good basis for their country. Two, they have so many investments in mines that they're now able to mine copper ore themselves, which of course is going to help you overall when you're looking to get material out. So, you know, these problems, these tariffs, these trade implications, these lack of trade talks, they will get sorted out. And this will not be a quick fix. If this was a quick fix, my opinion, and that's all it is an opinion, is a quick fix would have been a bad thing, and I'll tell you why. That means that one side would have immediately known that they were taking advantage of the other so badly that they just did a compromise, they got a deal together, and they went. This is something where both sides think that they're right. And having both sides think that they're right is not a bad thing. That could generally lead to a more intense and more sophisticated and more successful dialogue between the US and Canada, between the US and Mexico, between the US and China, between the US and the European Union and the different countries located inside. Those are good things. These could lead to continued growth long term, and people will forget about the short term 3 to 12 month period that we might go in where we're going to see the metal markets decline. So, guys, this is Tom from the iScrap app. Every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we like to do our live report. Please continue to ask us questions. Please continue to update your prices. Please continue to let us know what you think is going on in the local or national scrap market. We'll make sure to give you our opinions, give you our thoughts. But until next week, scrappers, I'll scrap you later.